On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are reviewing Batel, the Pokemon Slayer, or Strange New Ley Lines, 310, New Life and New Civilizations, right after these words from our mystery sponsors.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you listen in on two lifelong friends sit and chat about Star Trek. Take two. My name's Matthew Carroll.
I'm David C. Robertson.
Had a little technical difficulty, so we're going to have to recapture the magic of that first 4 minutes of that podcast we just recorded.
Yeah, I know.
The magic, Dave.
It was magical. It was science that was so far beyond us.
This is like...
It might as well be magic.
It's very much like the greatest song in the world. This is just a tribute. This won't be as magical. This is just a tribute. Well, you told me before we got started that we got a lot of feedback this week, did. More than normal. So let's get into this episode quick so we can try to get to as much of that feedback as possible. So what'd you think of Strange New Worlds season 3 finale?
I thought it was weak and jumbled. I felt like there was a lot of stuff in there that they tried to throw in. They introduced this idea of galactic ley lines. It might be a thing that they never go back to in Star Trek. Sometimes Star Trek does that. I will admit, just like with the Vestapa. Like, turns out it looks like they're not the Pa Wraith. Okay, they're just a different ancient evil, which we've had plenty of in the original series.
But this is gonna tease the thing I'm super annoyed at. But it's not another ancient evil. It's the evil that exists before, that causes all evil. It's like the concept of evil is how they've described it when they're talking with Batel later. And that's the conversation that will be my negative take for this week. The predominant part of me that conversation was terrible in my opinion.
Yeah, because I'm like, if you're like the ancient evil that started all the ancient evil, they fucking beat them pretty easy.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole nother issue, and we can get to it as soon as we want, but the ancient evil part, just all of Batel's stuff, her whole thing about like, her just asserting that maybe if I'm a chimeral version of these four races, I have all of the good within me, and I can fight all the evil. It felt like she was like given her own superhero origin, and it wasn't like she tapped into some knowledge. It was her, and it wasn't like they gave her information that would allude to that. Yeah, it was a real logical leap on Batel's part, and then they just sort of support it with like, Spock's like, well, that is true. If all cultures, they could have had these epidemiological changes that could have caused blah blah blah, and it's like, no, this is technobabble, biobabble, I guess, that is like weird and not at all like, it doesn't make any sense. And they could have written it slightly different and it would have made sense. And this was just too Doctor Who for me. Like, there's a thin line. Doctor Who and Star Trek are two things I love, but Star Trek is like truth and science, and then it's human stories built around that. And sometimes there's crazy gods, and like you've got to make them work within the science. That's like, to me, that's Star Trek. Doctor Who doesn't have to do that. Doctor Who can be like, this is the evil before all evil was spoken, and you're like, yeah, I'm with you, Doctor. You're the Doctor. Like, all whatever you say, I trust. But Batel walking in the room and being like, maybe I have all things good within me, and I am the superpowered being that is going to fight this thing. And it's like, okay, I know that she had already realized that she had the like DNA of the creature, or like the what do they call it? The biosignature of the creature that was in that thing. So like, but they didn't know what that creature was. It was just a real leap. To the point that like a couple of other lines to replace that very long conversation would have made sense if Spock had said, it appears that as we're approaching the planet, your chimeral DNA is highlighting these portions of your genetic material, and now we're seeing that it's blah, blah. But it just wanted to be Doctor Who, and it's not Doctor Who, and it pissed me off.
It wanted to be so bad. It wants to be Doctor Who so bad that like Palia was like, I have to tell you about the time I was hanging out with the time-traveling doctor.
The time travel. I mean, a charming doctor. And it's like, yeah, you've already shown a TARDIS this season, and now you had her say that line, and you do this kind of bullshit, which I really love Doctor Who, but it's a different level of suspension of disbelief for me than Star Trek is.
Now, I put her on captions, and she says, a time, and then there's a hiccup, and she goes, time-traveling doctor. So it's like she fucked up the line, and they just kept it in the edit. She didn't say a charming doctor. She said a time-traveling doctor, as if she, like, interrupted
I'm pretty
herself.
sure in the episode that's what she said, though, right?
She didn't say, I didn't hear her say charming, but I can't understand half the fuck she says.
I think she
anyway.
says charming. I'm pretty sure she said time tra, and then she stops, and then goes, a very charming doctor.
No.
Like, it is what I heard, and I definitely rewound it, because I was like, was that a Doctor Who reference? I think that was a Doctor Who reference.
It was a Doctor Who reference, but
yeah.
Interestingly, I'm not caught up on Doctor Who, but on one of the later seasons that Russell T Davies was doing, some, like, the companion mentioned, like a transporter, like on Star Trek, and the Doctor laughs and goes, "We're gonna have to visit them.
We're going to visit them sometime." Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I should point out, and it's funny because the producers have recently basically been being like, "Well, season 4 is going to be better than season 3 because season 3 we had a lot of problems with the writer's strike, and we had to shut down everything, and we couldn't write." So okay, fine.
Yes, I'll give them a pass. Like, I love season 1 and 2 so much that season 3 has been a bit of a crap show, and I like, the thing is, okay, to try to step away from it for a second, this episode had some really cool things and cool ideas, and it could have been amazing. It reminded me of Stargate, with them, like, going to this culture that, like, is still worshiping these ancient gods, and this it reminds me so much of Stargate. You never watched Stargate, right?
I didn't, in as much as I'd seen all of Star Trek up to that point. I watched a lot of Stargate, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They just ripped off a lot of Star Trek episodes.
Yeah, no, for sure. What I like Stargate for very various reasons, but
I did enjoy Stargate, what I saw of it.
Yeah, it's really good. But the Gua'uld are like this ancient race of, like, worm aliens that inhabit humans, and this guy is standing in this, like, you know, it's not a pyramid, but it's like a double pyramid, floating double pyramid that he's in, and he's, like, got the darkened eyes and stuff. Like, it just and the voice reminded me so much of a Gua'uld from Stargate.
Well, that's why they had the ley lines, because it went to the pyramids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it felt like a pretty deliberate reference to Stargate almost. And I know it just was like a guy with a boomy voice, but it just felt like that to me.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I think we did it on the previous version of the recording. I'm going to explain quickly what ley lines are and why we're annoyed by them.
Oh, right, yeah.
Ley lines in real life, supposedly, are allegedly straight alignments connecting historic sites, landmarks, and ancient structures. First proposed in the early 20th century Europe, believers see them as paths of earth energy or even guides for alien craft, while archaeologists and scientists dismiss them as pseudoscience that overlooks genuine indigenous knowledge and scholarship. They're not, absolute things that we know are true.
Yeah, it's just people taking lines and drawing their own maps and connecting dots between ancient sites that seem to be overdeveloped for their time period or whatever. And so people go, ooh, aliens, or ooh, whatever, sources of power. But yeah.
But also, like, things like the Appalachian Mountains, which apparently are full of quark, and areas around there like Hellier, Kentucky, and Point Pleasant, with the Mothman, and all of that stuff is along ley lines.
I know you used to listen to that.
I love this shit.
Coast
I love it,
to coast,
but I don't want it in my fucking Star Trek.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, I don't mind. Again, it's very Doctor Who. Very Doctor Who. To be like, ley lines, yeah, let's take them and grab them and use some alien race to make them make sense or whatever. And this is galactic ley lines, which, at least in this case, and I am fuzzy on what we said on this recording or the previous recording, but at least in this case, it's like they explained it was like galactic interdimensional travel routes.
Yeah.
So, like, that makes sense. If there's intergalactic travel routes, that certain, like, places would be along those lines and they would have development, but it is very pseudoscience-y.
I will say, though, when we start to consider, and they didn't, they're obviously not going to bring this up, but when we start to consider that this is all shit from the Q, essentially, might make sense why they get around the galaxy so well.
Yeah, I guess.
If they created them.
Well, I thought this was the Vesda that created them.
I don't know if it was them. I was so unsure of anything that was happening in this episode.
Right.
Just like when we get to fucking, what is it called? Like, Snowplowda or something. I don't know. Fucking Pyramid World. We get to Pyramid World and Mbenga is like, oh, that passage is about me. And I was a child and I killed my first... What fucking life did you live, dude?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. They gloss over that. Like, he's just like, oh, he was in his mind. Now he knows he's got to be like, he's got to use him to get to... I don't know what the fuck is happening on this episode. And they don't explain it well.
I didn't get that feeling. I thought they did explain it fairly well, but it's like our characters don't really know what's going on. We never get that sort of reveal of what all this means. It just sort of, it's Doctor Who-y, man, and I mean Who-y. Like it's Doctor Who-y, emphasis on the Who-y.
It's very Stephen Moffat Doctor Who-y.
Yes, 100%, 100%. But it's this whole evil is happening, and like nothing really has to make sense because literally cause and effect can be reversed at any point in the plot they need it to. So they just like, instead of making it make sense that she's a chimeral thing that can step into this interdimensional place and become this permanent, both infinite forwards and backwards creature, that we see destroyed in the episode too. So I guess this is like the beginning of her loop, and then she stays there a long time and then is eventually destroyed by this character too. So they're locked in.
She's destroyed. She's in some sort of like stasis.
No,
cage.
But he blows the one that is up there. He blows it up, which means
right.
And then she fights them all and replaces it. So that means that this is the end of her life as she knows it. She takes her part as the what do they call her? What's her
protector?
That's not it though. It's like beholder or something like that.
Might be a beholder.
Yeah, whatever the protector is that she becomes. So she becomes the protector statue thing, and then eventually it will loop around in its own tail, and he will blow it up. And this is like their ancient fight they always have to have. This is the thing though. This is the thing that bothers me. Okay, it doesn't bother me more than the evil conversation. That's my least favorite thing about this episode. It is terrible. It is such bullshit that it bothers. It just like, she comes in with an idea and it just feels like she's like making it up in her own head. She's like, I have an idea. I've made up my own purpose, and that's my purpose now. And they're like, yeah, good call. You are the perfect good being that has all the power to fight evil. Like, it was just really, really stretching.
And by the way, that felt really rushed, but she's like, this is why I don't feel like I belong as a captain or as this other thing that I just became. We haven't seen her in that role. We didn't know she didn't feel like she belonged.
Exactly.
She came in
last we heard that seemed like a cool fit for her. She was like deciding not to be a captain because she was moving on to something else. It was not character earned at all. No. And if we had seen that a little more or something, but here's the thing that really bothers me. This is Batel's journey. This is Batel's big battle against evil as she becomes, I want to say the Beholder, but I'm not sure.
The Beholder's from Marvel, you know?
Yeah, but what is she?
No, that was Beyonder, the Beyonder, never mind.
Yeah.
I fucked that up.
The Beholder. Yeah, it's the Beholder.
Yeah, okay.
Which doesn't mean prison guard at all. It means to look at something. But whatever. Like, she's
beholding that shit, making sure those assholes don't step out of line.
Yeah, I guess she'd be holding it.
She'd be holding that shit together, man.
Fuck. But no, the thing that bothers me most about this episode is they had to shove the inner light into this episode.
Oh yeah.
Which, like, was a beautiful sequence, and the knock at the door was so haunting, and like it made me it stacks yet another weird temporal anomaly thing on top of Pike's psyche, which, like, honestly is a bit of a hat on a hat. Like, he already has this thing where he knows his own future. I feel like that's enough of like a thing. And now he has a second life and children he has to remember that never existed. Like, this is just too much for one man. And like, it felt like you know the concept of fridging, when you let a female, particularly let a female character die so that the male character can have more character development.
Oh yeah, you know where it comes from? A 90s Green Lantern comic.
Oh, interesting. I knew that. I did not know exactly. Couldn't have pulled it. I've heard that before.
I have that issue.
Nice. Well, this idea of fridging, this is such a big example of it, in my opinion, because this is supposed to be her big battle against evil. Everything she's gone through, she's going to go into this room and have like some sort of big hero moment. And then
this season, I'm going, what the fuck has she gone through?
Well,
she's barely done anything this season.
She went through like the
episode
being inhabited by the Gorn. Then she has this like weird thing where she like can't control herself and fights this other creature, and like there's some weird stuff in there. Like she had all this recovery. She's recovering the entire season. Like I feel like she's been through a lot. No, I disagree. I disagree with you on this. I think that she has had they've spent the entire season, if nothing else, they have been overly like, well, she's still working through things. She's still recovering. This was not like a normal Star Trek injury where like it happens and then the next episode they're fine.
I'll give you that.
This was like the entire season. They've mentioned it almost every episode. So I think they've laid the groundwork there. But they finally give her moment to be a hero and be the beholder, and her eyes go all, galaxy, whatever. And like, then they cut away, and I'm sorry, I know that she was there too, but that entire thing felt like Pike's, like it was giving Pike a vision of their future.
Yeah.
It did. It felt very him focused. Like he's the one that's deciding not to go to the door to answer the knock and everything. It was about him. It felt like, and it was like, that's nice that they got to see what their life together would be. You get to experience their life together. That was really, it's a beautiful idea. But in that moment, you do that, and then you come back, and then she just goes, like, I have God powers, I win. Like, I am Batel, I have all the light within me, I vanquish you. And that's the end. There's no like cleverness, there's no thoughtfulness, there's no realizations. Nothing about her character grows or changes in the ending. It's just her stepping into that battle. Big, like 10-minute long distraction focusing on Pike and giving him new memories that he will have to contend with next season. and then like her just coming back and doing like shiny hands vanquish evil. It felt so fridging to me. Like she's going through all this stuff and like she's becoming this god creature to vanquish all evil, and it's focusing on Pike's memories, and it just felt that way to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That didn't feel that way to me. I did hate that I hated it. Like loathed the fuck out of it. Because not only did it like you said, put a hat on a hat, because he's totally gonna go and have this like whole future with Vina in the Telosian caves or whatever,
right?
And then that makes you think like, is he gonna make Vina look like Batel? Like, what the fuck is gonna? Anyway, that's weird.
People can have different loves in their life, and this is just the end of this relationship.
Sure, and that I don't know. It's just weird that they went that route and took so much time away from the rest of the story that we were telling.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I mean. I felt like that entire thing that has been leading up to for the entire season, from her in the first episode becoming getting a Gorn inside of her, and then the second episode getting chimeral whatever going on, and like all this stuff has been going on to build to this moment. The other episode in this quantum unfolding chamber. Sorry, old Peacemaker reference.
Yeah, I know what it was.
Didn't know if the listeners would. But all this episodes led to this, and then they decided, nah, let's do Inner Light instead for 10 minutes.
You know what? They just had the Star Trek Day panel, And the fucking producers got up there and went, yeah, we were doing the inner light. Like,
they said that, like, about this episode?
Yes!
Okay.
Yes! They were like, oh yeah, we decided we should do the inner light. Like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Yeah, that is not how that works. It's just so...
It's so frustrating. You hacks, get the fuck out of my franchise. I'm there now. I'm there. I'm sorry. I'm there now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm pretty upset at this season. We complain about it on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast all the time, where a lot of these new Disney Plus shows will do like 7 episodes about one thing, or 8 episodes or whatever, and then in the finale, they'll bring in a character that hasn't been in it. It's kind of a cameo, which is cool to see a cameo. I love a cameo. But when you put it in the final episode, it draws attention away from the thing you've been watching for 8 episodes.
Yeah.
It's a thing they've done a few times. And it always frustrates me. Well, this was that thing, but like, it's not a new character. It's just Pike having it's like you've worked this big plot about the Vesda, and like, I am very interested in the Vesda. Let's tell the Vesda story. And then instead you do Inner Light? Like, what are you doing?
It's also part of the prequel problem, and part of... I hate when they go back and do stuff like this, because they've made it to where we are now attached to this character, and they, as writers and producers, are attached to this character of Pike. We know that he's going to have to get rid of Battelle somewhere. Somehow she goes away.
Yeah.
And we don't know how. But also, we don't want Pike to have such a bad life.
Right.
So you just start inserting all of this stuff to try to make it, it's a softer landing. Like, well, he lived an entire lifetime in his mind with the love of his life. So now it's not so sad when the baffle plating ruptures and he winds up in a chair for like 6 months, 6, whatever it is.
And then ends up going and getting another special life that he gets in the other different way.
Like, I don't want... Also, like, damn it, I better see Pike struggling between his reality and the true reality next season. Like,
well, and that to me would have been more interesting. Like, if they'd taken 30 seconds to do this, and then next season he's having flashes and we see a little more of it, like, that would have been kind of interesting. But like, to do it this way just really undercut this season's story and Battelle's story specifically, which Battelle has. I've also struggled, partially because I know she's going away. I have struggled to feel the connection between those two characters and like put a lot of I don't know emphasis in my own heart on those two characters and their relationship. Yeah. I
have never seen much chemistry between them, mainly because every time we see them, there's something wrong where she's sad.
Which, like, I think that's actually like that. There are times I felt the relationship felt very real to me. I don't think, but it's not something that I was necessarily rooting for. It always felt like it was doomed to fail, and not necessarily because of some ancient war between good and evil. To me, it just felt like maybe they'll break up because they are constantly at loggerheads, about all these different things. And like, especially if you have, like, okay, this fridging concept bothers me a lot more when just a few episodes ago, they had a conversation where she didn't tell him about her medical issue. And she's like, I didn't want to tell you about it because I didn't want you to make it about you. And then she's having her ancient battle between good and evil, and then it felt like it made it all about him.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way though. Like, I felt like it was like I felt like she lived it with him, and like we had a lot of shots with her in the foreground and Pike in the background, and her reacting to things and introducing things. Like, she knew about her daughter's engagement before Pike did, right? Or was that the opposite? Now I'm second guessing myself.
I can't remember.
Anyway, I didn't feel like it was all about him. But I get what you're saying. Like, I understand. I don't feel like we got enough of her. I feel like one of these stupid fucking silly episodes should have gone away and we should have focused on Battelle because of what they knew was coming. Yeah. Because it was a lot to shove in there that suddenly she's feeling not happy with her current role that she fought to get.
And this idea of her being this like chimeral being should have been more explored. Like all season, she could have been playing with this idea and her powers and what it means and what it taps into. They could have had some other kind of evil they encountered, and she could have responded and had some sort of response to this darkness or whatever. Like they could have done something with her throughout the season that kind of gave more clips to that, other than just like, to me, it just felt like the Gorn, as we talked about in depth, so like the Gorn and the Vesda had some history. That's all it felt like, and which was cool. I was down for, but it didn't seem like this.
I mean, I wanted to know more about this, whatever this planet was that Gamble, with his
the Vesda creature.
How he had like people down there stabbing their eyes out, following him. We didn't even cover that shit.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that in the episode, really. We saw it briefly.
Yeah, exactly. We see it, and we know that they're preparing themselves to take on the Vesda. Like, they're preparing vessels for the Vesda, is what it sounded like. And that all, like, sounded really interesting, and I would have liked to see all those characters, like, lined up and ready, and when the swirling aliens start coming out, like, I want to see them, like, chanting and ready to, like, I don't know. It seemed like there were stakes that could have been raised in really interesting ways that just, instead they did Inner Light. And I didn't hate the Inner Light thing. I really didn't. Like,
I would have loved it in a different episode with different characters. Exactly.
The concept is great. That's why Inner Light is so good. Like, and I don't mind you recycling a concept in a different context. But when you do it in such a distracting way from such a episode that you've led to, it's just dumb. There's no reason for that to exist. There's no like evidence before that point that she has any powers to do that, or like there's no, like, it would have felt really earned if in a previous episode we'd seen that she could like look at alternate realities, or if she could, like, she starts to sense these powers she has and can't really control them, but she starts to see different things or something. And then when she realizes she can share that with him in their last moments, it would have been like, if it was intentional and like really like beautiful, like that could have worked. But they didn't do that. And so it just feels out of nowhere, and it feels like a distraction from what you've been leading to.
Yeah, I feel like they should have sacrificed one of the stupid episodes and made this a big two-parter.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's just my personal take on that.
I agree. I feel like we have to touch on it. Kirk and Spock, this episode, had their first mind meld.
I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not possible. They did it in the original series as far as like melding two minds and then both people acting as one. That was a thing. We've seen that. I don't care for we're going to mind meld and suddenly we're fast friends. I like and I think TOS meets this out, even though it's not technically canon anymore. The idea that like Spock and Kirk at the beginning are friendly, but they are not the trusted companions that they become by like season 2. And, by motion picture, that's undone a lot. And by Star Trek 2, that they're back because there's been like 10 years between, and canonically anyway. Like, I like the idea that like they slowly become friends. It's not just like we mind melded that time, and we'd had a couple of adventures together back when the Farragut was just hanging around the Enterprise all the fucking time.
Oh, see, I didn't take that as they are friends now or they're fast friends because of that. I thought it like their minds were interesting. I think that their minds melding, they realized they had like some similarities or connections, and sort of I think that Spock saw Kirk's brain and was like, this man is more interesting and like more complex and more whatever than I've been maybe giving him full credit for, and I'm like, I think we will be friends. Like, I think he's like, he doesn't even say we are friends. He's like, we will be friends a long time. Like, I think our lives will intersect. And it is sort of like weird to forecast that, but
maybe even we'll serve on the same ship someday.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
It could be that in the moments of a mind meld, you just have those, you're just connected and they're feeling that connection between each other. But I didn't mind it. I liked it. I think it was a little bit ham-fisted because it's Kirk and Spock, and you gotta establish the relationship so early. I agree with you. I think it's interesting to see it grow over time.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. You don't have to establish it. You just don't.
No, you don't. You don't at all.
We were doing fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other? I know there's lots of other stuff in this episode because it's pretty packed.
Yeah. All the implications of what M'Benga did, like his childhood, wherever the fuck that was, and what it means. And I do like the idea that, like, the Q or whoever fought ancient evil. I like the idea that there was some force in the galaxy way, 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 way back that, like, handed down the notions of good and evil throughout the universe. I like that basic notion.
I hate it.
But I don't like the way they did it.
I hate it with every bit of me because I feel like it's not realistic. It's not good and evil. I don't believe in good and evil, really. I believe that people make choices and people are complicated, and beings out in the galaxy are going to continue to make choices and going to continue to be complicated. And, like, you try to lean towards the better angels of your nature or whatever, and that's what the struggle of being a human is. And to try to say that all the evil comes from it's such a, you talked about how the ley lines thing bothers you. To me, this is like, we have over the years of Star Trek talked about how, like, they've sort of grown out of religion, like they don't really have religion. Pike is religious. So there are still people that are religious, but religion isn't like a overdriving part of their society anymore because now it's more science-based. And so Star Trek, I liked that about Star Trek, and I want it to stay that way. And so the idea that there is a thing that evil is personified by, it just feels like anti-scientific to me, and feels like hogwash.
Yeah, I don't think the idea philosophically of good and evil being cosmic forces on some greater plane is necessarily anti-science, but also it helps me because they've already kind of done that in Star Trek for, like, since the beginning. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well, like there's an episode of the original series, Wolf in the Fold, where it turns out that there's, like, this guy running around killing women on this planet, and it turns out the motherfucker is Jack the Ripper. Except it's been, like, a demonic entity from the beginning of time that has just been going along. Yeah, but to me, planet to planet doing this.
That is different. Having a demonic entity, which, we talked about the paw wraiths. To me, like, demonic entity is an entity that's just, I think it's possible to have an entity that has, like, whatever about it has made it so broken or ill-intentioned that it is evil, that it is, like, it is acting evil, is doing evil actions. But the idea that, like, there is a race of beings that personify evil itself feels weird and anti-scientific to me. And that, again,
I get that.
Feels like Doctor Who and not like Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know. Star Trek is too many things.
Sure.
Because, like, if I think about, I mean, I will be the first to be like, that doesn't feel like Star Trek, and then, like, I'll sit there and go, like, well, there's this episode and this episode.
Yeah,
and this
you
episode.
can pull up old, especially original series. I think that the show was still developing, and there are episodes that, like, you say it doesn't feel like Star Trek, but it is. I mean, and I feel like that about this. It doesn't feel like Star Trek, but it is. Strange New Worlds is Star Trek, and I accept it as such. But I don't like when it does these things that veer so far from what I feel like is the mission statement of the thing.
I don't mind the idea of ancient good and evil in some context that informed everything, but I don't like the idea that they were, I don't like the way that they were saying that it was the original evil or whatever the fuck they were saying. That's
what bothered me. It doesn't bother me that it's an ancient evil being. The paw wraith, the whole thing about the paw wraith is amazing because it's at once religious and scientific, and they meld the two perfectly. That's what's amazing. One of the amazing things about DS9 is how it takes the sort of scientific and the religious and sort of puts them together. This didn't feel like that. This just felt like there's these weird spirit creatures that, represent all evil, And it tried to put a sheen of science over it by talking about epigenetic changes in us that grow good in us to fight back the evil. Like, it's weird. I don't like it.
You know what, though? The whole time I was sitting, as I was annoyed with the episode, though, I was personally sitting there going, where does the koala play in? And why am I so willing to joyfully, gleefully even, accept the koala, but poo-poo this?
Yeah. And what does it know? What does it know?
Why is it smiling? What does it know? All right, we should probably get to feedback.
Yeah, let's get to feedback.
Oh, man. Mark McElwin says to us in an email titled Goofy Timeline, hey guys, I'm starting to think that everything we're seeing after those old scientists is in a new timeline. Basically, when Boimler and Mariner came back in time to Strange New Worlds, they split the timeline, and behold, the Goofy timeline, which includes 4.5 Vulcans and the like. I'll be taking no questions at this time. Something happened.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. We've had things in the past where, you know, a time traveler comes back from the future of Star Trek and it creates a. This is what is the Boimler timeline?
Sure.
So we had the Kelvin timeline.
Sure.
This is the Boimler and oh gosh, my brain isn't coming up with her name. Mariner. Boimler and Mariner timeline.
Mm-hmm. Am I remembering this right? Didn't they say that they've been drinking something that makes them see themselves as cartoons? So like their whole perspective is the cartoon?
Yeah, at the end of the episode, the Strange New Worlds crew drinks something that makes them yeah. It was strange. Unnecessary. Like that's one of those unnecessary things.
Richard Thompson writes in the current state of Strange New Worlds quality/content. Hey Dave and Matt, love your opinions on the episodes, even if sometimes they are brutally honest. LOL. But I can always tell you two do have a genuine love for the franchise.
I'm so glad that comes through.
Me too, man.
Especially this season. I just really was nervous that wasn't coming through, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I've had a thought about the lighter touch this season's stories seem to have taken with delivering the messages we usually expect from a Star Trek show. Is it possible the writers were avoiding any hot socio-political topics to avoid upsetting the sale of Paramount or the government's approval of the sale? No. It was too far. There was nothing there. We didn't know anything about that when they wrote and started producing and then stopped, and then the writer strikes happened, and then they came back to produce the rest of it. It was way before.
Yeah. I like it as a theory, but the thing is, I do think this season has avoided, you know, any real political messaging, but I don't think it's been a result of that. Mm-mm. But that hasn't really been the problem for me. It's been just this like crazy, just like weird shit in every episode. In almost every episode, there's just like a weird choice or a thing that makes no sense. And it's been hard for me to suspend disbelief and enjoy the episodes.
Yeah.
Blah. But yeah, no, I that's a good theory, but yeah, I think this was all filmed by the time Trump was stepping on the neck of CBS.
Yeah, we didn't even know that they were doing a merger. Like that was pretty recent, and it went through pretty quick.
Well, and you said this was all shot like last summer? Is it just
it was during the strikes. It actually, there was part of it that was they were shooting it and then they had to stop because of the strikes.
Okay. Well, that's like probably before Trump was even elected.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So probably most of this was written before Trump was even elected.
Like they're about to start shooting season 5.
Yeah.
Like at the end of this month. Okay. So, he continues, by the way, I didn't mean to be a dick, Rich. Sorry. Well, I was like, no, absolutely not. Sorry. Haven't watched 4.5 Vulcans out of fear, so I'm a podcast behind. Maybe I'll get a glass of Romulan ale and which 2 episodes this season to help it go down easier. Keep up the great and entertaining commentary. Live long and prosper. Yeah, I think he sent this a while ago, and I didn't see it or something. So I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, well, thank you for the feedback, though.
I'm sorry, Rich.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, John McRae, thoughts from the Star Trek multiverse. Hey lads, first off, fair play on keeping Star Trek universe going strong. It's been a highlight in my week, even when the shows themselves give me more heartburn than joy. Speaking of which, Strange New Worlds Season 3, Jesus. Mostly shite, if I'm being honest, but like that old box of chocolates, most of them are filled with toothpaste and regret. But every now and then, you bite into one and think, that's a keeper.
Indeed.
Now on to my scolding. Matt, you cheeky fecker.
I've never been called that before. I like it.
You called Patton Oswalt a fat schlubby guy, and then turned around and gave Dave grief for saying Patton's wife is attractive. Do you hear yourself? You can't be tossing rocks at a glass starship like that. That is hypocrisy.
Did I say his wife?
Huh?
I think he might be getting us confused. I never said his wife attractive. I have no idea what his wife looks like.
I said it was weird that they were playing it up, I think. It was like Una likes Yeah, but and then I said something about
you said something about it being in the real world his wife's attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this isn't. So I think I'm just saying, like, I didn't say that, so I think he might be giving you shit.
No. He said that, but you did say it was something like it was awkward to say something about someone being attractive or something, maybe?
I don't remember.
I don't really either.
But I think this, I think this shit might either be for both of us or you.
Let's see.
I don't think I called him a fat schlubby guy. I might have, though. I don't use the word schlubby often.
I don't know.
It was a week ago, or at least a week ago.
Yeah, I have no idea. But was it a week ago or was it 2 weeks ago?
It's probably 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. All right. Do you hear yourself? You can't be tossing rocks in a glass starship like that. That's hypocrisy at warp speed, mate. And Dave, now thanks to you, I now have to go through life with the knowledge that you get a naughty gob on Natty Gann.
What, a naughty gob on what?
I don't know what a naughty. I'm assuming a naughty gob is an erection. A gob sounds like it's cum.
Okay.
So yeah, Natty Gann is his wife is the woman who played Natty Gann when she. I don't know.
I don't know who Natty Gann is. I've really enjoyed the language of this feedback.
He said,
but I don't know.
That ain't right, bruv. What was your name? John, rest assured, I do not have a naughty gob. I merely meant to say that objectively, with symmetry, she is, the symmetrical of her face, she's very symmetrical, traditionally, classically, an attractive person. I have no naughty gobs.
Who is?
Patton Oswalt's wife.
Oh,
Natty Gann.
In real life. Natty Gann. All right.
That's not her real name. She played a character called Natty Gann.
Okay.
I don't know what's happening, Matt.
I don't either, man. I'm just trying to find out who Natty Gann is.
Yeah.
And is that his current wife?
Yes.
Because I know he had a wife that passed away.
Right. This is his current wife.
Okay. Got
it. He continues. Here's hoping Strange New World Season 4 is better than this. The puppets have me worried. I wonder if the Discovery haters will take issue. They hated when the crew felt too much. Now the crew will be too much felt. He says, I stretched a wee bit for that one. I've pulled something. Here's also hoping Dave and Effie continue the TOS reviews soon. I've been missing them in my feed and would love an excuse to go back and watch more TOS episodes. I've got 2 in the can, man. They're coming.
Yeah, nice.
Love you both love you all in all the appropriate ways. Sorry, I can't speak. Then he says, P.S. What with the Kelvin verse and the multiple timelines the temporal war clearly created, shouldn't you two rebrand to Star Trek Multiverse? I know the multiverse shite is a bit played, but Star Trek Universe is also the blanket branding Paramount uses. Would hate to see you feckers taken down because of the new folks wagging cocks.
Yeah. I assume if someone wanted to wag their naughty gobs at us,
yeah,
we would just have to change our name. I think they'd probably, especially we're a fan podcast, I don't think anybody would, if somebody wanted to challenge our branding, they could just say, they could probably send us a cease and desist or something.
Yeah, probably. Sterling Gray writes in, hey guys, I hope I'm getting this feedback in on time. Longtime fan, been listening for years. I'm just as bummed about this season as you guys are. There were some good episodes. I especially liked the Trelane episode and the Mystery Hour one, but overall I felt like we got too much candy and not enough steak and potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
If this season had 24 episodes like back in the day, the tone might have balanced out better, but as it stands, it felt like just a bunch of stuff that happened. I like and wanted episodic Trek, but there wasn't a lot of substance. Not much story that stuck with me. I hope Season 4 is a little more meaty. Man, you're all about meat. That was steak and potatoes and shit.
Some steak and potatoes.
As for the finale, I found it very underwhelming. I loved the fantasy sequence Vesda Patel.
Nice.
We have funny listeners, man.
Yeah, we do. Like I feel like Stu has set a high bar for like puns and stuff in the emails, and I love that people are following that and doing a lot of puns in these emails. This is wonderful.
Yeah, is there just like a group of Star Trek of our listeners who got together and said, "It's time, fuck Stu"? Anyway, I love the fantasy sequence. Vesda Patel and Pike got to live. Both of those characters know they are doomed to spend the rest of their lives in a cage. Ugh. Well, yeah. Well, Pike doesn't realize he's going to go to the Talos cage again.
No, he doesn't.
He just thinks he's going to be in the cage of his fucked body. Yeah. So it was heartwarming to see them get a happy ending, even if it wasn't real. What is real, Neo? He says, that said, the episode should have been about 10 minutes longer and needed a more climactic showdown between Gamble and Patel. The final battle was visually cool, but it was resolved way too quickly. I really wanted to see Pike say goodbye to Patel, but Anson Mount's acting at the end helped make up for that missing scene. He really sold that loss. I'm going to need an explanation as to why the Farragut is the only other Starfleet ship in space. We know they're going to reboot TOS. Stop giving us Paul Wesley so often. Let us appreciate him later. Anyway, I didn't like that Kirk and Spock have kickstarted their friendship with a mind meld. I feel you there. I like the idea that their bond was forged over years of serving together, and it still might, but I feel the mind meld is a bit of a shortcut that minimizes their friendship. A couple of random thoughts. They fired phasers from 2 ships into a wall and didn't blow up anything. Word? I don't know what to tell you on that one.
Yeah, it was
a special portal.
Especially, here's the thing. So they had to do that, and they decided to risk it or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like, okay, sure. There was no discussion of like, they discussed how if they did it wrong, it would be catastrophic, and it was 2 starships could blow up a bunch of stuff. Uh-huh. There was no discussion about the ethics of doing that in the middle of a civilization.
A pre-warp civilization, also, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. A fucking pre-warp civilization that they don't seem to mind like going here and doing all this stuff at, which I know the Vesda are there, so they're not the only people there, but still.
I was confused because like initially they were like, It's a pre-warp, but there are a bunch of, other aliens there who are like anti-Federation. So I guess not everyone there is, they know about the Federation, but at the very least they were like, we still need to dress up, so we'll be in disguise. When Pike and Patel go down there, though, they're in full Starfleet gear. They don't give a shit.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. It all felt a little rushed or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It did. All right. Couple random thoughts. Why is Sam Kirk in the show? I keep forgetting that guy exists. How did Gamble beam himself from the Enterprise to that planet from inside the transporter? That was the ley lines, the galactic ley lines.
Yeah.
Did Pike say that the alien tech was so advanced it was indistinguishable from magic just so the writers didn't have to explain what the hell was going on? Yes. Yes, they did.
That's always a thing. Yeah.
I didn't get any of the science. This goes back to last week's episode Terrarium. I wish Strange New Worlds would stop breaking canon. This is why I hate prequels of anything. Jesus, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
I'm all with him on all those points.
Absolutely. Let's get over to Stu. Stu says, hello. Hi, Stu. Yes, you should watch Farscape, guys. Well, I feel Matt might like it more than Dave for some reason. It's pretty much the closest thing you would get to a live-action Guardians of the Galaxy series. What if being about a human shot across the universe and working with a crew of diverse alien convicts, one of who's a plant, another is a warrior with a dead family, another is a woman who's the most serious of the group, who he over time develops a romantic relationship with, to name a few.
That's very Guardians of the Galaxy, actually.
Who kind of mostly tolerate him at first before forming stronger bonds. There's also a fair amount of comedy in it, and even silliness. Their take on the body swap formula episode is particularly bawdy, and good effects, both in terms of CGI for the time and practical makeup and puppetry, with the Jim Henson Company contributing to that. Shooting in Australia, additionally, meant that they used a lot of great locations for filming in addition to their impressive practical sets. It also ends up having a great villain in Scorpius, who is kind of like Grand Admiral Thrawn from recent Star Wars. But, if Dave Filoni actually knew how to write a smart character. Jesus. The show was also pretty good about emotional stakes and kicking your heart in the balls at times, like the extended plot line where main character Crichton gets cloned, and the copy is so identical we never actually learn which of the two is the original one. And after splitting the cast in two, with one Crichton going with each side, we jump between the two, and the resolution of all of that is pretty affecting. Yeah, give it a try. Take care, Stu.
That sounds really good.
It does. Really good. And by the way, I love Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. P.S. New life and new civilizations.
Good job, Stu. That's great.
It won't be the same without you around stuff with Patel would work better if she had actually been more of a regular this season. Oh. She wouldn't have had to be super involved in every plot, but another captain being around to give informal advice on situations would have made sense. Wow, picking on the Scotsman, huh? Okay, I see how it is. Cheeseburger eating Vietnam losing monkeys? I don't know, man.
Wait, I don't either. I really don't.
At least when Melanie Scrofano was in Glasgow recently, shooting the new Spider-Man movie, she had nice things to say about us. But that's Canadians for you. Nice people. Unlike some more southerly folks. This is also another indirect dig at Spock's human side, since Arthur Conan Doyle was Scottish. I thought that was just like that whole thing with Scotty wearing the formal bit, or her being like, hey, wear the formal shit. They did that to her in season 1. The first time you go to the captain's table, they tell you it's a formal thing.
A little bit of hazing.
Yeah. Ironically, Sky Gowan sounds like a Scottish town name.
Mm-hmm. It really does.
What did I call it earlier?
I don't remember, but
Snowplower
right.
or something?
Snowplower, yeah. Snowplowing, maybe.
The Gamble reveal was a little ruined by a combination of the previously on and seeing the guy from behind with his dreads before we got the teleporter pattern buffer stuff. Sick costume, though, even if he does look like a bit of a ripoff of Mirak from the Elder Scrolls.
Mm.
All right.
Hadn't played that.
He sent a picture.
Oh. I see the general shape of the character looking kind of like him.
Yeah, he's got like a helmet and a thing, you know?
Yeah.
Why does the Vulcan nerve pinch work on seemingly every humanoid species that is attempted on? Wouldn't they have different nerves? At least the Cardassians have those neck and shoulder ridges as a defense. Yeah, I guess everybody. It's like because of the fucking, I don't know, penis-headed aliens from the chase, seeded the galaxy, the progenitors,
Yeah, they put that in there as like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like the vents on the Death Star.
Yeah, they stick the vagal nerve in everybody. Yeah,
yeah.
I do remember the uproar when Unification Part 2 came out and Data did the nerve pinch, and Star Trek fans were mad and writing into magazines and shit and talking about like it's supposed to be a Vulcan thing.
No, I don't remember that, but I understand why it would happen.
They're using their Vulcan powers to put in like a little a suggestion through their finger is what it was.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
A lot of people assume that, and then that's not true. It's just a thing anybody can do in Star Trek.
Yeah, it just takes you have to really know how to do it.
Yeah, takes away from the Vulcans, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But anyway, Stu says, demons that could kill and possess every man, woman, and child. End quote. And every non-binary person, too. Damn it, Star Trek, get woke already. Now he says, my eye. I'm not supposed to get knives in it. All those people screaming about it was like, don't put it in. Yeah, don't put the knife in your eye.
Yeah.
Like, why are they so shocked?
Yeah, I was impressed the lady who did both eyes,
Yeah.
Should the one lady do both eyes? Like, it's impressive.
Yeah.
The pain, how bad it hurt the first time. It's going to hurt again.
Quote, a science so advanced, it might as well be magic. Ugh, get a new cliche already. Oh, look, Spock Kirk queer baiting. How droll. If these writers had any balls, they'd have them have a three-way with La'an. But they are, all caps, cowards!
I agree. I think it's time for thruple trek.
Yeah.
I will say I did love that scene at the end. When she's like, he's like, oh, dance lessons, and she's like, oh no, the mind meld, and he's like a steel trap.
Yeah.
That felt like Kirk to me. That felt good. I liked it.
It didn't quite feel like Kirk to me, but also I didn't like the implications of it. That, like, I don't know, it felt a little non-consensual. Suddenly Kirk has all these memories of.
Yeah, sure, but that's what the thing is. I mean, that's why it's so personal to do mind meld, and why it's a little weird they do it so often in current Trek.
Yeah,
like it's supposed to be kind of a weighty thing to do because you're giving someone all of your memories, or giving them access to all of your memories.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I read too much stuff and watch too much stuff where there are telepathic issues, like, because I don't remember if in Star Trek there are such a thing as mental blocks that they can put up around certain memories.
Yeah, they've talked about that in like older Trek.
Yeah,
maybe some in Discovery,
or if it was like a Jean Grey Professor X thing. I don't know.
I think they can, like, with practice, they can guide how much of themselves are sharing and stuff like that. So maybe that's a thing.
Or if they were like melding and Spock's like, dude, check this shit out.
Yeah, exactly. Damn. I was going to say, maybe it was a bit of a voyeurism thing. It's like, I'm only sharing what I want to share, but check out these dance lesson files.
That's terrible.
Absolutely terrible.
You can dress this up with as much technobabble as you want. The solution was still shoot something twice. I get the use of it here, but can sci-fi fantasy shows stop doing this plot device of characters being stuck in a not Nexus illusory illusory, I can't say that word, idealized life they have to break out of to save the day. Titans did it. Wheel of Time did it. Hell, this actual season of Strange New Worlds arguably did a variation on it with the Trelane episode. It's a bit old, especially since everybody's idealized life pretty much goes the same way of domestic bliss with hypothetical kids. Everyone's a goddamn breeder in these scenarios. Oh, and stop ending shows with flash forwards to pretty much the same thing. Looking at you, Discovery. Wow. Pike's immediate reaction to his girlfriend turning into a statue was a bit subdued. Seemed a little bored to me. In fact, everyone kind of undersells this. I know there's some ambiguity about what Batel's actual state is now, but functionally, she might as well be dead. And Pike isn't even being told to take some time off to come to terms with it. Question. Right? Yeah. Question for you guys. What does George Kirk actually do on this show? What's his... the second person to say this.
Wait, I was going to say, that wasn't earlier. That was a different email, right? Did we have that earlier?
Email, yeah. What's this reason for being a semi-recurring character? This guy's going to canonically die in a couple of years' time. Like 7 years, too. And he feels extremely underdeveloped so far.
Yeah. He's just there to keep... is Paul Wesley his name, right?
Paul Wesley is Kirk. Jim Kirk.
Oh. I thought they were the same guy.
George Kirk is his brother, or Sam Kirk. George Sam Kirk. But Stu did message me and say, I accidentally referred to Sam Kirk as George Kirk in my email, which I think works out as proving the point I was making about him as a character.
Yeah, I gotta say, this is my face blindness.
Uh-huh.
They're different actors.
Yes.
That was a question.
Yes, they are. They're different actors.
I thought they were the same actor with a mustache.
No. They were in the original series.
I know. That's why I thought that. And then my face blindness prevented me from ever recognizing George as his own person.
Yeah. I mean, it's hilarious. And people might think you're being an asshole here, but you're not. Like, I grew up with you.
I have severe, face blindness. Like, yeah. I don't know. I don't get people's faces all the time. And I just thought Paul was doing a really good job.
Yeah. I have watched you pretend to know who you were talking to so many times.
Oh, yeah.
People
I'm good at it.
Walk up to you and be like, Matt! And like, y'all are hugging and shit. And I'm noticing you're not you're just listening and just nodding and...
Yeah. Yeah, I'm good at it. I'm good at that.
I didn't know it was face blindness for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's really bad face blindness. I mean, it's not like I can't recognize people once I know them well, but sometimes characters in movies and stuff, it's really hard for me to lock them down sometimes.
Yeah.
And George hasn't been on the show that much, and so I really did think he was the Paul Wesley with a mustache.
Yeah.
And now that I'm saying it, I'm like, that's dumb. I can think about their faces and I can imagine that they're different. But I just thought he was doing a good job of acting, a different attitude and different voice.
No, Sam has been on the show since the beginning, and
yeah, I remember.
He has darker hair as well. But I don't know what Sam Kirk is doing on this show.
Yeah, he's been very underplayed for sure.
He's never done anything.
Yeah, I feel like in the first season he was a little more active.
Yeah, I do too.
I remember there were a couple episodes where he had some stuff to do.
You know who else was more active in season 1?
Who's that?
Himmer.
Yes.
I miss Himmer.
I miss Himmer.
I said that last week. No, I didn't. I said I miss the blind Andorian engineer is I think what I said.
Yeah, that is what you said last week. And I couldn't pull his name either. It's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Stu continues. As fast as you want to go. No, we don't need everyone evolving into salamanders. We'll never get past, what was it, Threshold? Was that the name of that episode?
Yeah, that's the name of that episode.
So that was the finale. On paper and in a lot of execution, it's good. I like the visual of Sky Gowan. It was cool. And they got the Vesda thing resolved. It's just the full-blown quasi-supernatural, unnuanced, literal good versus literal evil and Chosen One stuff was not a very interesting way to go about it to me. And like I said before, while Batel is a cool character, she's not really been around enough for me to be really happy seeing most of the regulars take a backseat to her being the big hero and doing an I am all the Jedi from Rise of Skywalker. Speaking, I don't even know what that is. Speaking, I haven't still seen that.
It's the Rise of Skywalker last moment thing.
Oh God, they do that. Shit.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And I guess you don't care, probably.
I went through a period of caring, and then I stopped.
Yeah. Ren goes up against. Is that her name? Rey. Rey goes up against Rey goes up against Palpatine, and there's all these like dark forces behind him, and it's just her, but she like has the power of like all the like a bunch of other Jedi from the previous series. They're like Force ghosts are there, and like they all sort of join forces to aid her in her like struggle against evil in the last. So Rey has to fight Palpatine.
Oh, is Qui-Gon back?
Yeah, I think Qui-Gon's back. Qui-Gon back. All right. I don't know why. It sounded like Backstreet's back.
Well, she called on everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, Dave. Good job. You got there.
Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, could we have had something a little more exciting for the standoff than instant win superpowers? At least Cisco had to fist fight with Gul Dukat in a fire cave.
Exactly. I needed that. And I needed Pike being there to matter. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. The only reason it mattered is because it required two people to walk through the thing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason it, like, kind of mattered, but they didn't really even focus on that. It was weird, man.
And once they got M'Benga in there, he just kind of shoved him in a different dimension, and we never really saw him doing anything again.
Yeah, because they wanted it just to be, you know, but they needed M'Benga, I guess, to get Pike out of there. Because two people have to leave. These are the things I'm thinking about while they say that it takes two people to cross the threshold thing, and I'm like, oh, because that's why that's why they did this M'Benga thing in general, because they needed. But it was just then they never like played that through. You know what I mean? Like they didn't go like, okay, I need someone else to cross the threshold to leave the temple, and like M'Benga's there, and they leave together. Like, but it just didn't happen.
Yep. Stu says Gamble Vesda just really did stupid villain things, like not kill everyone from the Enterprise the first chance it got. I'm not going to review Season 3 as a whole, because I think we all know where the problems with it lay. And with them having shot 4 already, we can only hope they maybe realized they had to change things up on their own, though. Puppet teaser announcement does kind of dampen that hope.
Yeah.
I have not met... I've seen people online, but I haven't seen a lot of Star Trek fans who were happy about the puppet thing.
Yeah. I am reserving judgment on the puppet thing, because I also feel like it's more the silly bullshit that has made Strange New Worlds worse.
Yeah.
But I do love Angel, and that puppet episode is really important to me. So
I am just like, please, Strange New Worlds, stop doing Buffy and Angel shit.
Yeah, I hear that.
Because you
don't need to be Buffy and Angel.
That's what Patel's thing is. That's exactly what it is. Remember the whole thing about like the ancient watchers, the shamans who created the first watcher and put all of like the genetic codes of good fighting into her so that she could fight all of the evil. And that's why the slayers are chosen.
Well, it wasn't genetic codes. It was like dark spirits, like they do like evil spirits into her and stuff. But yeah, that's I feel like that's a bit of a stretch. That's just like them giving her superpowers, and this is also her gaining superpowers through some sort of weird means. But there's definitely like her having to stand guard forever and sacrifice herself reminds me of Buffy season 2, where Angel has to go to close the portal and stop the apocalypse or whatever. You know, like there's definitely like shades of all that stuff in here in a way that isn't normally Star Trek. It's not what I think of when I think of Star Trek. And like, I understand that Star Trek is trying to evolve, and I want it to evolve and change. But there are other shows that are doing such interesting things that I think Star Trek could be doing. Watching Alien Earth right now. I mean, again, it's just freaking Noah Hawley should have done Star Trek, and it would have. I want to jump to that alternate universe where Noah Hawley got to do his Star Trek show.
I haven't watched any of it yet, but did you see Foundation got renewed for a season 4?
No, I don't know anything about Foundation.
That is based on an Isaac Asimov series, and it's a show on Apple, and I've heard really good things. I'm gonna check it out soon. It's very, very much like epic space shit.
Cool.
Anyway, Stu says, I personally just hope that we get that Cybok conflict they seem to tease all the way back in season 1, even if they'd have to be pretty creative with the writing to make that work. So him showing up in Final Frontier as an unknown to the crew makes sense. Now, Stu, dude, the fucking producers just walked back the Cybok shit at the panel. They just said something to the effect of, we never said Cybok was coming. We might see something else, that is a result of Cybok, but we never said Cybok was going to be coming on the show. So I'm pissed about that. On the other hand, I don't know when they could introduce Cybok on the show in the flesh, because Jim Kirk is always on the fucking ship.
Yeah, it does seem the whole him having a brother was such a secret. So yeah, I mean, they could do something with it where Spock leaves the ship for an episode and encounters his brother or something. But yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Stu, for the email.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, everybody. All of you guys sent us a lot of stuff here this week, and I am humbled by your attention to our show this week.
Yeah, it's really nice to get some feedback and know other people are out there listening. And as much as there's some disagreement, which I love, honestly. But it's nice to hear people don't think we hate the show.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want them to think that I have a naughty gob.
I mean, I hope they continue to think you have a naughty gob.
And I realize it sounds like a knotted gob.
Oh, you do have one of those. Jolon True. Just every week say something terrible about you and then say Jolon True. Sorry, show's over. You can't rebut it.
Micro dicks unite.
All right.
All right, man. Joel on True, live long, prosper, all that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll even do one for Effie. Plank on a clit and eat a dick or whatever the fuck she says.
Plank on a clit.
Yeah.
I like it. Always a good time.
That's, yeah.
All right, guys. We'll be back soon here on Star Trek Universe. Hopefully, we'll do a good news episode soon.
Yeah, there's some news that we can talk about.
Sweet. And if there's various feedbacks that come in following this episode, if you just want to make fun of me for thinking those two guys were the same person, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But it is a real condition that I have not been diagnosed for, but I think I have.
Yeah.
So
you also can't tell the difference between an eagle and a duck.
All right, Joel True.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.